to the Webster County Board of Supervisors meeting, April 21st, 10 a.m. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the April 14th, 2015 regular meeting.
So moved.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2 is to receive and place on file drainage repairs that have been today. Item number 3, accept and place on file the resignation of Barbara O'Connor, Public Health, ARNP, effective March 20th, 2015.
Chairman, move item number 3. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 3 passes. Item number 4, accept wage increase for correctional officer Tyler Powers to $14.73 per hour, effective April 30th, 2015, and Emily Johnson to $15.04 per hour, effective April 28th, 2015, per labor agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve both wage increases. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 4 passes. Item number 5, approve Class B beer permit application for Harlan Rogers Sports Complex.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 5. I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 5 passes. Item number 6, approve and authorize chair to sign IP Pathways proposal to add storage to the existing virtual environment in the amount of $26,393.23.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Andy, do you want to share with us?
Andy McGill, IT Director for the county. What this is I know about 3 years ago we virtualized all of our servers, and so in the process of doing that, we knew at that time that we possibly have to be adding some additional storage for backup purposes and some even on the production site. So this is what this proposal is for, to add that storage. We're getting close to running low on storage. Once it gets down below a certain threshold, our performance degrades, so we're trying to prevent that from happening. Also, by waiting this long, we actually saved the county about $6,000. If we had gotten it the first year like we originally was going to plan on doing, it would have cost us about $6,000 more. If we wait till next year to do it, it would cost us about additional $12,000. So, any questions? One thing I meant, this is also for our DR site too, so this proposal handles both our production site and our disaster recovery site. So.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 6 passes. Item number 7, approve and authorize chair to sign railroad revolving loan and grant program agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the loan agreement and authorize you to sign such item. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'll kind of try and explain a little bit about what this is. The Iowa's Crossroads of Global Innovation, Webster County certified in industrial ag Clark. We have a need to provide a rail connection for this certified portion of the site. And thanks to the efforts of several people, I'll mention our mayor as being one of them, that the state of Iowa has made money available to help developments such as this, and so we've made application and we're awarded a $1.6 million loan. This isn't a grant, we have to pay it back, and if we approve this, we will accept the loan, and it will provide the majority of the funding necessary to create a railroad siding connection at the certified industrial site. We will not be putting any rail into the site, so that we're keeping the site as open as possible for future developments. We have 10 years to pay this back. It's a no-interest loan. It is our hope that we can recoup these costs through connection fees as property is sold out there. In absence of that, the plan for repayment on this is we've identified future TIF revenue as a possible
receive and place on file Central Iowa Juvenile Detention Center's audit report and financial report for period ending June 30th, 2014.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 8.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I've reviewed this report. I'm on that board over there, and just really like our report every year. It's a very well-run organization. They continue to expand. We've added a couple counties this year, and it still works out very beneficially for us as a county to house our juveniles over there. This audit report just shows that they check the financial systems, and they're all in order over there. Runs like a business, so looks good again.
Mr. Sheriff, any comment?
No, we utilize that quite a bit. We utilize it some for juveniles that have been waived to adult court, but we still can't house them in our county jail. So it's a well-ran place, and they've been pretty good to us.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 8 passes. Item number 9, approve a request to transfer $2,151 from the general basic fund to the conservation trust fund for equipment sold at auction. Fund will be used to purchase tracks for the John Deere Gator.
I'll move item number 9.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Item number 9 passes. Item number 10, review construction permit application and matrix scoring of Keaton Mosier for a new 321-head deep pit swine finishing confinement building at an existing swine confinement facility in Section 3, Roland Township. And any comments received, Carol?
No written comments.
No written comments? Sheila, do you want to come up and tell us about this?
Sure. The DNR was here next week, and I went out and met with them at the site. This is an existing pit. It's just adding on a new building. So nothing new came up in the matrix evaluation on our end, except for a private drainage tile that I gave to our drainage clerk, Doreen, to investigate. Otherwise, everything on the maps that they provided looks good.
Questions or comments for Sheila on the application permit or the matrix scoring? All right, we'll move on to item number 10, or 11. Consider matrix scoring and recommendation to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources of Keaton Mosier for a new 321-head deep pit swine finishing confinement building at an existing swine confinement facility in Section 3, Roland Township.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we extend the recommendation for acceptance to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources for the pit swine finishing confinement building.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 11 passes. It is now the citizens' opportunity to address the board with any items not on the agenda. Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Come on up over here, say your name, introduce yourself.
My name is Roxanne Doss, and I am with America's Renewable Future. And I hope this is the right place, part of the supervisors meeting where I can talk. I had reached out to all of you just to talk to you a little bit about our organization. We are working to protect the renewable fuel standard, which is under attack by big oil and Washington, D.C. politics as usual. And what we're doing is we are identifying local leaders across Iowa, like county supervisors, county sheriffs and elected officials, to also stand up to support the renewable fuel standard. We are hoping that if you are willing, you will publicly support the RFS, and when all these presidential candidates come through Webster County, you will talk to them about how important the renewable fuel standard is. And so, I just have some information here about our organization and about the renewable fuel standard for you to look over. And then I would be happy to talk with each of you individually after the meeting and tell you a little bit more about the organization. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys stick around afterwards?
Yes.
Okay. While she's handing those out, any other questions or comments from the public? All right, we'll go on to the Board of Supervisors Committee reports.
I was, have something,
Your handouts.
I gotta have notes here or I'll forget them. Last week, attended the Davenport meeting with the Department of Transportation, not only the workshop in the afternoon, but also the next morning. Made a brief presentation to that organization, to that commission. One of the handouts that, or the handout that they gave the commission had some of this information in it. It has to do with 2016 to 2020 highway program development. And titled non-interstate capacity, the discussion was, okay, what are we going to do with these additional funds that are going to be, or already started March 1st through the additional gas tax? The first item on the agenda for consideration, again, non-interstate, was quote, US 20 Ida-Sac counties from Correctionville to US 71. This is the 30 miles in question. Add to the program on accelerated schedule and fully construct. So those words are very important as they considered then, quote, input, finishing under 20. It was all deemed scenario C, in which there were a whole litany of additions made. But the one that we're interested in, of course, is US 20. And the reasoning for the DOT's acceleration or placing funds to get it done, much of the right-of-way is already purchased. Now realize we are competing with the remainder of the state for these funds, everything from new construction to actually to maintenance as well, but primarily in this case new construction. Road can be closed for construction, relatively high traffic volumes and very high traffic growth. There's an extremely high in western Iowa traffic growth, and it's acting as a funnel moving it into the Highway 24 lane over in our area, or at least in Highway 71. And then finally, project development is ahead of other corridors due to the Commission's directive in 2005. What that amounts to is that in 2005, the Commission was directed to complete the commercial industrial network and connection of access cities. So they hadn't forgotten about that commitment as well. So if you've heard on the news lately, Governor Branstad talking strongly about finishing Highway 20. Those are some of the reasons why. And then finally, what the Commission is considering, if you call it that, is adding $74.1 million, $68.5 million, and $79.3 million to the existing $68.4 million for a total of $290 million. That's all extremely good news. I would caution you in this regard, however. We've done the April 15th meeting in which this was set in place, and there was some debate about other projects, specifically those on the Highway 30, excuse me. But Highway 20 was accepted as is. May of this year, they will present the draft to the Transportation Improvement Program, added to the Transportation Program, to the public for their input. And then finally in June, assuming there are no major changes, then it will be approved by the Transportation Commission. So it's in place, but we still have this 60 days, or not quite that much now, to let it weather a little bit, or let it mature, if you will. It all looks very positive. Rarely is any change made. Yet in the same breath, I would tell you that if Interstate 74 bridge, which is a $500 million improvement project, if that bridge should fail, then they would have to switch funds over to that almost immediately, which would knock out funding, or at least partial funding of Highway 20, here we go again. But in the meantime, all things being equal, as steady as you go, this looks very positive. So, that's all I can tell you at this point.
Well, I'd like to thank Mr. Singer for all this hard work, because tomorrow I get to drive on the Senior Superhighway on my way to the next regional meeting of the county social services. I'm all jabbing a poor Bob aside. Tomorrow's meeting is going to be quite interesting. You know, there's been just a tremendous amount of effort done across the state to create these mental health regions. And now the whole thing is kind of going apple cart upset, because the state is researching on how they're going to be giving or paying for services now, and they're putting things out for bid. So now the region is actually going to have to start competing with other providers and entities to provide services. And so everything that's been going on for 2 years is now kind of up in the air. And so tomorrow's meeting is going to be quite interesting to hear what the future might bring on this. And I know we had Mr. Lincoln come and talk to us about, our case management, and this is all part of what they're trying to do, is make it so they're prepared to compete with other case management agencies to provide these services. And so who knows? Actually, what I think it's doing is it's kind of making this governmental entity kind of look a little more like a business and say, we've got to look at our costs. And so interesting, but they certainly got everybody up in an uproar. But thanks for, it is a bit of a problem though, from Webster City all the way over to Dyke. Also, there's no potty stops.
Well, that'll come. When the corn grows,
You need to work on that.
well, when the corn gets so high, it will be rough.
That's it.
Anything else?
I guess want to mention that there's a whole, the reason why this is getting done is there's a whole long list of things that have happened along the way. Everything from your senators and representatives along the 20 corridor, over in eastern Iowa, there are many people, legislators that were supportive of it. There was pressure put on the governor. The governor, when he was governor the last time, said he was in favor of Highway 20, but the funding evidently wasn't there at that point. So the commission has been pretty supportive of this. Certainly the governor's been supportive, legislators. But if you personally said something to somebody, that may have had an effect. It's just everybody getting involved, and also realize that this additional money helps all Iowa roads, just not one. And that was a point made on the news last night. It's all of Iowa. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you saw it or not, the director or the chairman of the board is a guy from Clinton, and Clinton is taking their monies and they're going to hire 3 new people for the road department. They're having a hissy fit about that, because that was not the intent of this additional funds. But oh well, what the city does with their business, I think. I'm not sure they're going to be successful telling the city what to do, but be that as it may.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments for the good of the board? If not, I take a motion to allow claims.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second, and a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.